Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to session 5 of the mental health awareness and discourse. So it's the third time I'm trying to do this broadcast today because the first two times there were no sound. So I will just do this very quickly and to just cover what I need to do. Okay, today's session is about how the current core messages on how we can have have precautions against COVID-19 will impact mental health and cause one to maybe develop mental disorders. Today's session is more of just building awareness, and that if let's say you find that you are in the group which may have the propensity to develop a mental disorder, then you can actually seek some help early rather than to wait until it becomes quite severe. So okay, let me do the screen share and to present this. Okay, these four messages were from the last broadcast which I gave. I talked about how we know these are the general messages given to us. Number one, stop activities outside, meeting friends, socializing, entertainment, non-essential work should stop outside. Then you also keep a physical distance from another person, 1 meter in Singapore. Other countries you have like 4 feet and etc., 6 feet, kind of thing. Third thing that we do is that rather than doing face-to-face physical connection, we do it online. We connect online. Fourth is to stay hygienic and clean. With the first message of stopping a lot of things, we have certain populations which may have a risk of developing mental health disorders, like those who actually have major financial losses or loss of income due to this lockdown, which is the heightened measures of safe distancing. So it could be that, like for example, if you operate a karaoke lounge or like some other entertainment things like a fishing pond, or you have a nursery, then or like events, huge events or conferences which are cancelled because of COVID-19, then um you might suffer a lot of losses, potential losses, and etc. And then it might cause you to go into crisis. Then with crisis, you may have other things that come out, like I don't know, depression and other related things. Or if the crisis and the blow is too much, one may actually develop schizophrenia as well. This could be a risk for people who have been accustomed to spending limited time with, let's say, their children, their spouse, or their parents, because maybe they will send an elderly parent to maybe the senior activity center. Maybe they'll send the child to a childcare or send the child to school. And the spouse is probably working and you have limited time where you spend with the person. With everybody being at home together, then it could be stressful because there will be a lot more disruptions and maybe arguments with children. And if you are working from home, children do not understand that you are working, or may not understand. What they know previously is that if the parent is at home, then it's time with them, perhaps. Then they'll be curious and run in to see what you're doing, or that they will play with as normal, making a lot of noise, or they want your attention. And with all this, the conflicts may arise, and that you might become quite frustrated and angry and etc. So there might be a lot of quarrels and conflicts, and which leads to other possible problems. There is also a risk of mental health disorders for people who have difficulty being alone. So this is for those who keep trying to put in many different activities to keep themselves busy so they do not have to spend time by themselves. When they have time on their own with themselves, they feel anxious and they cannot tolerate it. So this for a person who, let's say, does not have enough activities or other things to keep themselves occupied and end up being alone, then this might cause them to develop other problems like anxiety or depression. There is symptom aggravation when we have to stop thing. If let's say the person usually use activity or busyness to repress thoughts and self-reflection, so it might cause certain thoughts to just surface, unpleasant thoughts, uh, suicidal thoughts maybe, and that it may then cause the person to to be overwhelmed and etc. or go into danger. So that could happen as well. So if you are one of these, please do seek help if you need to. No, especially if let's say there's suicide ideation, please call a hotline, the SOS hotline or the National Care Hotline, so that people can help you. Stop can also be very difficult for people with attention deficiency or hyperactivity. These people who needs a lot of activities and excitement, in order to feel calm, might feel frustrated, irritated, or that they are not very edgy, very fidgety, because they do not get to exercise out all this pent up energy and etc. And when they are irritated and irritating or making a lot of sounds and noise or just being in a frenzy, they also irritate other people around, which cause them to maybe have quarrels and etc. So the next one we have is keeping a safe distance. This is an important message, but it can also cause mental health disorders for people who are marginalized. So like those who actually live in nursing homes or are under welfare, and because or maybe those in the hospitals, and that during this period of heightened measures, there are no visitors allowed. This can cause them to feel very alone and isolated, and um, loneliness can cause some of these people to develop depression. There is also a risk of mental health disorders for others who actually are seen as different, or that are ostracized or discriminated during this period of time, or that people avoid. So it could be those who actually had a COVID infection, or those who are under quarantine. People who attended the Grace Assembly of God found themselves to be avoided by others because there were some it was a cluster earlier on. So that can happen, and it can also happen for foreign workers now that there are quite many dormitories who had workers who were infected with COVID-19. For those who are sensitive to being seen as different, then it might cause them to feel anxious and depressed or also angry. And sometimes we can't control how other people think. So while it's justified that you should avoid someone who has been infected with COVID-19, or someone who is on a stay-home notice or is quarantined, people may continue to avoid the person even after the quarantine order is long over. And if that happens, then that is quite distressful, and that the person who under distress may may become depressed. Okay, keeping a safe distance may cause a symptom aggravation for people who are deprived of uh, attention or admiration. These are those who previously had wanted a lot and needed a lot of attention and love and nurturance for them to feel okay and happy. And this includes people who are on the spectrums of narcissistic personality disorder, or borderline personality disorder, or histrionic personality disorder. And it the physical face-to-face attention and adoration which can be found by many people or can be given by many people might not be easily replicated online, and then as a result they might feel that they are not worthy, or they are alone, or they are not popular, and then develop symptoms like anxiety or depression and yeah, worthlessness. Keeping a safe distance may also impact those who are paranoid. So, in a few aspects, one is paranoid about the hygiene level, and whether other people have COVID-19 or not, or are similarly hygienic, or they are paranoid whether other people look at them with, with some different lenses. Like for example, if one maybe is a Christian and they 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 see that other people are looking at them and thinking that they feel that they must be from the Grace Assembly of God or something. That can happen as well. Okay, connecting online is what we do now, for work and etc. Since we can't do it face to face, but it causes a risk of mental health disorders for people who do not have access. Um, because, like for example, those who are marginalized, in homes etc., or that they are maybe I don't know, perhaps they just do not have access, maybe because they are old, or they are poor, or that they don't really know how to get online access. It can also develop for people who are overstimulated or prone to overstimulation, yet they have to actually do all these things online. For example, teachers, previously they were to teach the students face to face, and maybe just spending about 10 to 20% of the time online using computers. But now it's the reverse, and they have to probably spend 80% of the time using the computer, engaging the students online. And if this is overwhelming, then it might cause them to have mental exhaustion and maybe burnout. Perfectionistic people who have yet to learn how to connect online well might face a lot of anxiety, during this period of time, because they have no time to perfect whatever that they wanted to do. And this might cause them to have certain identity problems and issues, and that they find that they are not doing a good enough job or something, and that people will judge them, and that they will feel worthless and etc. So this is something which can arise as well because of this situation and connecting online. People who are prone to addiction may actually have more exposure and more opportunity to be addicted to either social media, internet, gaming, or even gambling and etc., which can be done online, especially if they have nothing else to do at home, or that if let's say this is something which they do apart from whatever that they are doing online. Connecting online can actually aggravate symptoms for people who already have addiction related problems. So previously, if let's say you have addiction of gaming or the internet, then in counseling, what happens is that you will probably be required to decrease your hours. But now that everybody is actually doing everything online and it's a requirement for many, then you actually have the green light to just do, go to the internet as long as you like, and that parents are not able to just lock you out because you're supposed to do your homework and attend classes. Then then it's also very easy for you or the teenager to actually use other things alongside with the classes, and then have prolonged exposure. So people can also, I don't know, at the same time while doing all these things, decide to surf pornography, and it will, of course, it's something that we shouldn't encourage and it's not allowed. But if that happens, then that is something that we will, that is problematic, and we will have to deal with it after COVID-19 is over. There are people who may also be on social media or that previously do not use social media much, but have adapted to use it right now because of the decreased face to face. So, like for example, for me, previously I may probably not have the time or the energy to use social media, and probably use it like maybe 3% or 5% of the time. Right now, because I have most of my things are like going, or on broadcast, or that some of the messages which I want to send are via social media, so I get to spend a lot more time on it, and that I can realize that it causes people to sometimes want to compulsively read and to see what other people are doing or reacting to them. So I would say that actually posting anything on social media is a little bit like having a performance, and that so when you have a performance, you will be expecting people to give feedback, but sometimes it does not happen. Like people may not actually view your post at all, or that they might view your post but not give any feedback. And for some, it is very important for them to actually get the positive stroke, or to get people to comment and interact with them. And when this does not happen, they feel very anxious, while waiting for it to happen, checking again and again. Or that if, let's say, really nobody does pay attention to it and they have moved on to something else, then the person might feel very depressed, that uh, and feel very isolated, that nobody wants to connect, not interested to, and actually, then develop at other problems. Yeah. Connecting online can also aggravate symptoms of burnout and mental exhaustion for people, especially if they are not very well versed in connecting online. So this might push them over the edge and they go into a crisis. Okay, the last core message that we have to prevent ourselves from getting COVID-19 is to stay hygienic and clean. This cause mental health disorders and risks for people who are very fearful of contracting COVID-19. So they might be fearful, and then they decide to read about everything related to COVID-19, how many people who have died, how are the symptoms, um, when do people develop symptoms, and where, in which neighborhood do people get it, and how many people have been dead all over the world, and etc. And and the survival rate. So this all this information may feed into the fear, and the person actually gets more fearful. So the person may actually develop an anxiety disorder, um, with relation to different things like generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, or maybe for the next one, so if let's say they might develop paranoia about people, catching it from other people, or let's say they might be thinking about whether surfaces are clean, and then start to disinfect and clean it very often. Um, so this can actually aggravate the symptoms for people who are already having such disorders. Like if let's say somebody has agoraphobia, fear of marketplaces, the person might be overwhelmed by this COVID-19 and decided not to go out at all, because previously it's just the people who are overwhelming, too much stimulation. Right now, there's an additional message that they may have virus and that they might spread to me. So this might cause one to even to become more anxious, and to avoid um, going into places with crowds more often. And when they think about crowds or that they think about viruses or about COVID-19, they might actually go into a panic attack. For people who actually have obsessive compulsive disorder, this might cause them to obsessively think and check all these posts related to COVID-19 and know to and to continually ruminate about this COVID-19, like, oh, if let's say who catches it, then it may be spread to another person by whatever, and then it spread again and again, and it will get to me, and then this, and then my family will get it and everything, and then we will all go in the hospital, and they will be quarantined, and I may lose my job, and etc. whatever. So no, the rumination may come with obsessive thoughts, and the obsessiveness about it causes you to be unable to stop. There's also the compulsive end. The compulsions, uh, there will be compulsions for you to maybe wash your hands very often and maybe to sanitize and clean everything. There was an example, I think there was a story from Hong Kong whereby there a person actually cleaned everything, the whole house using alcohol, and to try and just disinfect. And then I think the wife or somebody else went to cook, and then and turn on the gas, and the whole house actually um no burnt down. So it could be related to the compulsion to clean. So not it could be the intensity, how much you clean. You might clean a lot and the high intensity, or that you might clean with high frequency. So instead of cleaning your hands maybe once, you clean it 5 times after you go out, and you clean it every other hour, and that you take a temperature every other hour as well, instead of the twice temperature taking a day. You might decide to clean all other surfaces out there, and that you might decide to actually put your whole house um, on some filter or something and under air conditioning, so that outside air do not come in, because you are so worried that the air from outside may contain the virus that may be spread to you. So it could be like that. And yeah, so if let's say you find that you have all these symptoms, or you have such tendencies, and that your current symptoms have become aggravated, you are getting worse, then please go and seek help, rather than to wait for it to get worse. I offer two ways here. One is the free counseling service, which a few of us counselors actually came up with. There are 17 counselors right now who's actually on the list, and they are able to either see you face to face, those who actually had who had been come those who had the approval from the MTI to be essential services during this period of time. They are able to be open and to see those who are actually in crisis, if let's say there is no alternative. If not, the counselors are available to see you after this heightened measures, after this circuit breaker. There might be possibilities to see them face to face. Otherwise, a third alternative is to actually use online counseling, to actually see them via video conferencing if you are interested. So the link is down there. If you are keen, you can sign up at this link. The service is free, and it's for people who are impacted by COVID-19. Okay, one other possibility is that you might want to call the 24-hour National Care Hotline. This is by MSF, and the number is 6202-6868. Okay, this that is manned by 300 over volunteers, and then they take turns to actually man the line. So if you have any problems, you might call them at any point of time, and they'll pick it up. Okay. I just realized that the slides were not shown earlier. So, so these are the slides, no? So to connect, no, the four core messages, the risk of mental health disorders for people with financial losses or those who, okay, and to keep a safe distance, no, for those who are marginalized and etc., those who need attention, those who are paranoid, connecting online, those who do not have access, prone to overstimulation, perfectionistic people, risk for those who are very fearful, very paranoid, have anxiety disorders or OCD. These are two links. I'm feeling quite exhausted. Okay, so thank you for watching. Despite all these boo boos and um, yeah, I hope I don't have to do this again today. I mean, this broadcast, the same broadcast today. I will have another broadcast on Wednesday at 3 p.m. and it's about cabin fever. So if you're interested, please tune in. That's all. See you then.